Hi, this is Laura Mark from the Blake Admissions Office, and welcome to Lower School Questions from the Courtyard. We're really delighted to have you here with us today. I really hope that this most unusual fall season has gone really well for your students and your family at home. We are here at Blake in week 7 of full-time lower school pre-K through 5 here in our community, and we've just been thrilled to be back together with our students and teachers who are just so happy to be in the classroom learning and growing together. And I know myself, as a current parent of 3 students, am really excited that this week is our parent-teacher conference week. And so I'll have the opportunity to meet one-on-one with each of my child's teachers to learn about what's happening in the classroom and how they're doing. And I know I leave every year of my 8 years of being a parent here just being so very impressed at how well our teachers know our students, know their strengths, know where they need support, and just know and care so deeply for them. So a little bit about today. We are going to start with a bit of an overview about our school. Then we'll segue to a campus tour, a narrated campus tour that will give you a little insight into our lower school community, our curriculum, and the joy of being a lower schooler here at Blake. And then we'll save a lot of time for questions and answers. So you can feel free to use the Q&A function at the bottom of your screen to enter questions, and we'll look forward to answering those for you. But before we go any further, I'd like to introduce or take time to have my colleagues introduce themselves. So again, my name is Laura Mark. I'm the pre-K admissions coordinator here at Blake, and I'm also a parent to a 1st grader, a 5th grader, and a 7th grader.
And hello, everyone. Good afternoon. I'm Lynn Lowe, and I also work in the admissions office with Laura, generally covering admissions for grades 1 through 5. And I am the parent of 2 Blake students who have been at Blake since pre-kindergarten. My daughter Eleanor is now in 9th grade, and my son Frederick is an 11th grader. Welcome.
Hi, everyone. I'm Heather Falsani. I'm the newest member of the Blake admissions team. I am in charge of outreach and digital content. So we're really grateful for you guys to be spending a little bit of time with us today, and hope you continue to be very interested in Blake. Thanks. Bye-bye.
So we'll get started now with just, again, a brief overview of Blake as a school. One thing some of you may be aware of is we are a 3-campus school. So we have a lower school, grades pre-K through 5 on the Hopkins campus, which is where I am today, and a lower school, grades pre-K through 5 in Wayzata. We refer to as our Highcroft campus, and that's where Lynn is today. We also have our middle school is also housed on our Hopkins campus. That's grades 6 through 8. And our upper school, grades 9 through 12, is on our Minneapolis campus. We really enjoy and appreciate a 3-campus system, as we feel it's a wonderful opportunity for kids to move into age-appropriate spaces that really reflect their social growth, their academic growth, and the spaces really reflect the way that teaching and learning happens so uniquely in each one of our divisions. So you can see here our Hopkins campus. Here is our Highcroft campus. Again, that's where Lynn is today. And here is our upper school campus in Minneapolis. Of course, at the heart of what happens here at Blake is what happens in the classroom every day between teachers and students. We are really lucky and fortunate to have such an exceptional teaching faculty. 75% of our faculty hold an advanced degree. And in that setting, in that classroom setting, we are looking at really small classroom sizes. So the average class size, that's grades pre-K through 12, is 16. In the lower school, it can be closer to about 18 to 20, depending on the grade. In upper school and middle school, again, it can be actually fewer than 16. It can be closer to 14. But in that teaching and learning space, again, our teachers just get to know each student so well that they're really able to offer individualized attention and instruction in a really child-centered and focused way. At the core of Blake's, at the heart of who we are as a school is also our commitment to pluralism and our commitment to community. These are just a few statistics about our self-reported data in terms of who we are as a school community. 50+ different languages spoken in homes across our divisions. 35% of our students who identify as students of color. 23% receive some level of financial assistance. and over 60 different cities and towns represented by our students. At Blake, we really believe that bringing together students, teachers, administrators in a diverse setting is very important. And we also believe that providing space, curriculum, and time for kids to really work and learn about each other's differences and celebrate their similarities is a very important part of our school program. We seek, starting as young as in pre-K, and then as we think ahead to our middle and upper school, to really instill a sense of community, both locally and globally, in our student population. Our students partner with over 40 different local community organizations and service projects. Many of those service projects start in our service learning program, which are student-directed, student-led service initiatives that happen pre-K through 12 and are really driven by our students who are constantly thinking about how they can get out and make the world better. In our upper school, that results in 3 credit-bearing global immersion trips where we are able to create programming and curriculum for our students to travel and learn about countries like Sierra Leone, China, Guatemala, Cuba, just to name a few of the places we've been over the past 5 years. Core to Blake experience is not just what happens in the classroom, but what happens outside that classroom. Our students are heavily invested in PE as lower school students, where we have all kinds of wonderful elements, including skating and swimming. And as you get older, the chance to participate in productions in middle school and upper school, choir concerts, and specifically also athletics once you enter 7th grade. And of course, as we think way ahead, as you're thinking about choosing a lower school for your child, later on, our students start thinking about where they want to spend the next 4 years of their educational experience. This is just a list of some of the schools in the past 4 years that our students have chosen. Our college counseling office works really closely, just as our teachers do, to get to know each student, what their passions are, what their strengths are, what they want to explore, and really sees college as not a prize to be won, but a match to be made. And here are our students from the class of 2019 celebrating that wide variety of colleges that they've chosen. So now we're gonna take it and turn it over to a campus tour that's narrated by some of our students and our lower school administrators that will give you a better sense of what happens in our lower school classrooms each and every day.
Welcome to Blake, an independent co-ed day school for students in pre-kindergarten through learn together and grow together.
In this tour, we'll highlight a few areas of pride within our program. We'll encourage you to visit our website or schedule a personal on-campus tour to learn more. Each lower school campus welcomes about 250 students where teachers, students, and families form a close, caring, and supportive community. Small class sizes mean each student is known well by their teachers. Individualized teaching and learning happens daily. The average class size is 19 with a 9-to-1 student to adult ratio. The lower school combines an enriching academic experience in a supportive environment. Teachers inspire our youngest learners to develop academic and social skills, gain confidence, and love school. The child-centered focus of our learning and teaching means students have an opportunity to dig into their passions. Faculty quickly become attuned with these passions, weaving them into the curriculum. Our lower school is often described as a liberal arts experience, right-sized for our youngest learners. This means students not only learn and practice critical thinking and problem-solving skills in subjects like math and reading, but they also apply these skills in art, engineering and programming, physical education, Spanish, and more. Blake's lower school literacy program is designed to jumpstart and encourage a lifelong love of learning. Starting in kindergarten, students spend weekly class time in the library, exploring and checking out books and practicing research skills. The primary form of homework for lower school students beginning in first grade is independent reading. As a special recognition of our love of books, Blake awards an annual Bear Ducat in honor of the Caldecott Medal to a book that's selected by student voices. Our elementary math curriculum is based on two highly effective research-based programs. The first is Early Bird Mathematics, used in pre-K and K. The second program, Math in Focus, a Singapore mathematics teaching approach, is used in grades 1 through 7. Learning another language in childhood is the best way to work toward developing language proficiency. The lower school offers Spanish twice a week in pre-K and 30 minutes daily for students in kindergarten through grade 5. Students leave the lower school program with up to 6 years of formal language instruction. During a typical week, our lower school students have PE 4 times per week in grades 1 through 5 and twice weekly in pre-K and K. Our PE program includes on-campus ice skating and swimming units. The year culminates in a lower school Olympic Day in the spring. At Blake, we believe arts are fundamental to an excellent education. Lower school students have art weekly across a variety of mediums, including firing clay creations in our own kilns. Art coursework reinforces skills taught in traditional academic courses and often partners with other disciplines. Our lower school students engage with music 3 times a week through active exploration of musical concepts and skills. Additionally, Blake offers optional small group strings lessons that are woven into a student's day at no additional cost. Theater and musical instruction culminates in 5th grade with a fully staged musical production. All students participate in either an acting or singing role, and they also accompany parts of the play in the orchestra pit. Engineering and programming curriculum provides students with the opportunity to work with a variety of materials and programming languages. Lower school students develop critical thinking, problem solving, and collaboration through Lego building and Scratch programming. Just as important as our robust academic curriculum is our commitment to building an authentic sense of community. Students come to see themselves as part of a peer learning community, connecting on classroom and cross-grade level projects. At Blake, our mission is to engage students with a dynamic, academically challenging education in a diverse and supportive community, committed to pluralism and a common set of values. Students pursue an integrated program of academic, artistic, and athletic activities, preparing for college, lifelong learning, and purposeful lives as community and global citizens.
Thanks for your interest in Blake. Visit blakeschool.org/admissions to visit our lower school campuses in Hopkins or Wednesday to take a tour. My classmates and I look forward to seeing you.
So that's just a little window into, again, what happens in our lower school each and every day. Now is the time where we really look forward to answering your good questions, either about our program, about the admissions process, or anything else that's on your mind as you seek to learn more about Blake for your child. And I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Lynn, who will start moderating the questions. And again, just a reminder, you can enter those questions using the Q&A button at the bottom of your screen.
Great. Thank you so much, Laura. I am hopeful that everyone enjoyed seeing a little virtual tour of both of our lower school communities, all combined into one, and ready to get started with questions. As Laura said, use the Q&A feature at the bottom of your screen to type in any question that you have, and we can get started right away. We had a question during your talk earlier, Laura, that I did answer online, but if you could just elaborate a little bit more. How many teachers are in the pre-K through 5 classrooms?
Yeah, great question. So our pre-K program on the Hopkins campus, we have 2 classes of pre-K students. And each of those classes, there's somewhere between 13 and 15 students in the morning. And we have a lead teacher and a teaching assistant with each one of those groups. At our Hycroft campus, we have 1 section of pre-K, and we can have somewhere between 17 and 20 students in that group with 1 lead teacher and 2 teaching assistants. So the student-teacher ratio in pre-K is roughly just a little bit between 1 to 6 and 1 to 7. In kindergarten, our grades classes grow slightly, so we can be between 18 and 20 students in any one of our 4 kindergarten classrooms, 2 on each campus. And again, in kindergarten, we have 2 teachers in the classroom all day long, a lead teacher and a teaching assistant. When you move to grades 1 through 5, the class sizes again stay somewhere between 18 to 20, sometimes 21. A lead teacher in each class and a teaching assistant that's shared between the 2 grades. And all of that, K through 5, is consistent across both our campus at Hopkins and our campus at Highcroft.
Perfect. All right, so we're also getting a question about the admissions and application process, and so I'd be glad to give an overview of that. We really welcome families to explore Blake as much as they are interested in by joining us on virtual sessions, by hoping to come in for an in-person tour if you're looking at Blake for the 21-22 school year. We are having some limited tours during this COVID time just to give families the sense of what it's like to be in the Blake community, but also in an effort to keep our kids in community that is here as safe as possible. So we are happy to open things up for tours on campus if you're interested. You can do that through the Veracross parent portal that you've all signed into, or just call us and we're happy to schedule it with you as well. Once families have decided they want to apply to Blake, that application process is all online through the website, and you would get access to a parent portal through our Veracross system, which has a couple of different items on our checklist to complete in terms of the actual application, including just some demographic information and information about your hopes and dreams for your child and kind of where they're at emotionally and socially and academically. So we look for information from you for that. Once that is all submitted, a whole new checklist will appear on your Veracross portal, and that will include the main aspects of the process, including having an in-person screening assessment that is done on all of our kids applying to pre-K through 5th grade. That is somewhere between 35 to 55 minutes or so, depending on the age of your child, where your child would meet with one of our consulting psychologists to get a good sense of their cognitive development. And then while they are doing some what we call brain games for their perspective, just a variety of activities with the psychologist, while they're doing that, you have the opportunity to visit with either Laura or I and just kind of go through any questions that you might have, as well as share more information about your child so we can learn about them. We also look for our pre-K and kindergarten applicants to get a teacher recommendation form from their current teacher or some form of formalized setting that they might be attending for preschool or lessons of some sort. Laura would certainly talk more with you about what options might be available if your child isn't attending a preschool this year. And then for kids in grades, applying for grades 1 through 5, we also receive the teacher recommendation form from their current teacher, and we look for just school records from their last few years in their school system. All of that information is submitted anytime between now and January 31st. And then this year, we are not able to host kids on campus for a visit to the classroom or a play group in our lower pre-kindergarten and kindergarten grades based on COVID situations. That is typically a part of our process, but that we are unable to do that this year. So once we do the screening, gather school records if it's appropriate for the grade of your child, and gather the teacher recommendation forms, we are happy to then move everything forward to the review committee, and decisions come out to families the first week of April each year. So we have an application deadline January 31st of each year, and decisions communicated with families by the first week of April. Anything to add to that, Laura?
No, I don't think so. I just, again, obviously, in this unusual year, we normally would have also a variety of ways for you as a family to come to campus to meet our teachers and students. I would just share that in addition to these virtual events, we are hosting two what we refer to as Discover Blake events on Saturday, October 31st and Saturday, November 21st. They will be virtual, but every Zoom session that's being offered on those Saturdays will feature our teaching administration, and we'll cover topics like lower school literacy, middle school math, and just really give you a sense of what teaching and learning looks like directly from our teachers themselves. So that's one way we really hope you'll be able to engage with us, because I think listening to our teachers talk about the thoughtfulness of their curriculum, learning about their backgrounds, how long they've been teaching, and how much joy they have in teaching, I think is a really a great statement about our educators here at Blake. So just a quick plug for those two events as well.
Yeah, great. A question is coming in that really ties nicely in with that admissions process information we were talking about, and asking about, in this particular year, given distance learning in many schools across the state and across the country, can families also include letters from teachers from their students' previous year, since it is somewhat harder for distance learning teachers to get to know their kids. And that certainly is a possibility. We will work with you, with all families, to get the best and the most information possible so that we can learn about your child through the process. We certainly are interested in gathering information from their teacher this year, but we're also happy to gather additional information from previous teachers, or from maybe coaches or music instructors or things like that, so that we can get the best sense of your student in this particularly challenging year. There is a question about languages offered in the lower school, and that is in our lower school, pre-kindergarten through 5th grade, our language offered is Spanish. All of our kids have Spanish in pre-kindergarten twice a week in the classroom, and then kindergarten through 5th grade daily in the classroom for a half hour every day. So that is a language program that goes all the way through the lower school. Once kids move to middle school, they can continue with their Spanish language learning, or they can switch to one of 3 other languages: French, Latin, or Chinese, based on their interest. And the idea is that if they choose another language, they would stick with that language through the upper school, so they can become proficient in yet another language. There is a question about extracurricular activities, Laura, and what extracurricular activities are available to lower school students.
Yeah, great question. So in a normal year, we offer a wide variety of after-school activities that range from everything from yoga club to chess club to kindness club. Some of the programs are run by our teaching assistants. Some of the programs are our teaching faculty. Some of the programs are run by outside educators that we bring onto the Blake campus. Those are typically offered in sort of about 6-week increments. So kind of every 6 weeks, you might have the opportunity to sign up for a different set of extracurriculars. We also have a few limited ones that we offer before school starts. So if you have somebody who likes to get a little bit of running time in before they sit down for the school day, our lower school PE teacher offers sort of a kids fitness class that he does before school starts on a yearly basis. In terms of other extracurricular activities, there's a wide variety of opportunities for kids to participate together as classmates across the community throughout the year. So again, in a normal year, events like pumpkin parties and Literacy Fest and Winter Fest. So there are also some sort of larger lower school after school activities, but those are the structured ones are the ones I mentioned first. Once you get into middle school, you have the opportunity to then participate in Blake's dramatic arts program, signing up for spring musical or signing up for an athletic activity.
Wonderful. And along with that, there was a question around the hours of the school day when school starts and ends in the lower school. And our lower school program is an 8:30 to 3:30 school day. So as Laura's talking about those after school activity opportunities, those would start right after 3:30 when the kids are done for the day. Kids can come and join campus as early as 7:30 in the morning. And then they would just be part of an open extended morning time that anyone has the option of joining. There's no sign up needed. You just, if you're ever coming before the classroom opens from 7:30 on, you just go to extended day. And then when the classrooms open, the kids transition into their classrooms and get settled in for their school day. In addition to those after-school activity classes, we have an optional afternoon extended day. That is a sign-up situation so that we can ensure appropriate staffing for our kids that stay after school. And that extended day in the afternoon runs 3:30 to 6 each day.
And I would just add, if you're thinking about pre-kindergarten, the schedule for pre-K is we are a morning 5-day-a-week curriculum-based program. So the pre-K program delivery is really 8:15, 8:30 to noon, 5 days a week. We offer an optional pre-K afternoon activity program that's run by our pre-K teaching faculty and happens in our pre-K room. So it's very seamless if you're looking for an all-day opportunity for your pre-Ker. It's also somewhat a la carte. So you could stay all 5 days in the afternoon, you could stay no days, you could stay 2 days. So there is an optionality around that afternoon, but the morning really is that 5-day-a-week, roughly 8:15, 8:30 to noon. In kindergarten as well, there's a little nuance. We are 8:15, 8:30 to 3:30 Monday through Thursday, 8:15 to noon on Fridays. So then we offer also a kindergarten afternoon activity program on Friday afternoons that's run by our kindergarten teaching assistants, happens in the kindergarten room, and definitely mimics some of the activities that kindergartners would normally have. But if you're not there in the afternoon, you aren't missing out on engineering and programming. You aren't missing out on our readers workshop. You aren't missing out on a field trip. So whether you are in an afternoon program in pre-K or if you choose afternoon on Fridays for kindergarten, it is optional. And if you're not there, you're not missing out on what we would consider kind of our core curriculum offers. So.
Great. And then there is a question about summer programming available, and we are certainly happy to, in a general year, offer our Summer at Blake series, which has a variety of academic and athletic and artistic day camp or week-long camp experiences. And we also have just a general day camp week-to-week offering that lasts the full day for kids to just come and take part in a variety of activities throughout the summer. You can choose a week at a time or the entire summer. So it's very mix and matchable. And we have a great summer programs director who is happy to work with families individually to create the perfect schedule for you. Generally, our Summer at Blake opportunities and signups come out in January of each year. And we are happy to send those out to families once the opportunity is available. So you will get an email about that as soon as that's ready to go out. There is a question about kids and the 2 lower school campuses and how is it determined where an applicant lands in terms of an offer at Blake based on the 2 different campuses, and if parents are able to choose which campus makes sense for them. And I would say that certainly we consider ourselves one lower school. We just have 2 locations. However, we know that one location may certainly be more convenient or make more sense for a family as they're looking at Blake. In that regard, Laura and I have many conversations with parents about what their preferred campus would be as they're coming through the application process. And for all intents and purposes, we do everything we possibly can, if it's a great fit, to make that offer on the parents' preferred campus. And generally for pre-kindergarten and kindergarten, that is possible. There are some instances where Laura will have more conversation about that. In grades 1 through 5, that might be slightly more challenging, but again, we work really hard to make it happen if it's at all possible. So again, that's something that Laura and I would have continual conversations with you about if you were coming through the application process. Laura, there is a question about individual education programs through the Minneapolis or the Minnesota public school systems, and if that would be the same thing as the screening we do as part of our application, and how we work with kids who may have additional needs through an IEP or through a 504 plan. So if you want to talk a little bit about that from kindergarten and up.
Sure. So absolutely, Blake really values a wide range of learning, and we really value different learning styles in our classroom. And because we have such small classroom sizes and excellent teachers, we're really able to offer a differentiated experience for all students who are in the classroom. Our screening process, the sort of cognitive-based screening that we do, could have been something your child may have undergone in order to arrive at an individual education placement. It's likely not the same test that that a public school would have used, but if you sought sort of outside advice or outside counsel, or went through your pediatrician, it's possible that the screening would be the same. That would be something that would be great for us to know, mostly because we want to make sure we aren't retesting children who have already maybe gone through a similar screening test, and particularly if they've gone through it recently, because those test scores generally last about a year's time. If a child comes to us already with an individualized education plan, again, what's really helpful is that you are able to share that with us as admissions coordinators, and then we're able to review that with our admissions committee and really make sure that the support that you have in place for your child is support that Blake also offers. We do have learning specialists on site for both lower school sites, and certainly we have a number of students who work in small reading groups, small math groups, and at times we'll receive individualized one-on-one support, generally in those two areas, but sometimes others. We also have lower school guidance counselors that are available on a daily basis on each one of our campuses that can work with social emotional support as well. So really, I would say it's a case-by-case basis, and our goal through the admissions process really, of course, is to provide you with as much information as we can about what Blake can help and support your child. And so the more we know about how we can do that, I think the better decisions we can all make about what will best serve your child to be set up for success. Because our goal is for every child to feel confident, to feel valued, and to love to come to school every day. And that's really our goal in trying to match our school with your family. So I don't know, Lynn, if you have anything to add about students who maybe come later on in maybe like a 4th or 5th grade with a more perhaps in-depth plan.
Yeah, no, I think you summed it up pretty well. We just love to know that ahead of time and have that be something that we learn through the application process, so we get to know your student and what the particular learning styles of your student are. And that helps us determine if the opportunity presents itself at Blake to be able to truly support them to reach their full potential. There is a question about opportunities to interact between campuses. So for kids that are on each of our 2 different campuses and then eventually come together in middle school, are there opportunities for them to get to know each other a bit during those lower school years? And I would say that certainly there absolutely are. We have a variety of opportunities across the grade levels for kids to get to know each other on the alternate campus through a variety of activities like letter writing to each other, having kind of a pen pal letter writing scenario, or field trips that they might go on together, including a fabulous activity when kids get to 4th grade, where they go overnight to Camp Widgewagon up in northern Minnesota for a 2-night, 3-day camp experience with just teachers and Blake employees. No parents allowed on that one. So it's a great opportunity to not only get to know your peers, but start finding a little bit more independence as you're about to move into 5th grade and become leaders of the lower school. And then just a whole variety of opportunities around curriculum that's developed both in science and social studies, where kids come together and do activities, in learning more about our Indigenous culture around Minnesota, and those types of activities. So by the time they get to 6th grade, they certainly know of each other, and they may have developed some friendships with each other. And they also have the opportunity to meet and get to know other people, both from the corresponding campus that they are not on, as well as from new kids that join Blake at the start of middle school. Laura, we have a question about how do teachers prefer to communicate with parents, and how can parents be involved in the classrooms?
Yeah, great question. Our teachers really value the parent-teacher connection. It's really important, especially when I think about children, in pre-K and kindergarten. My youngest is now in 1st grade, but I've certainly tried when she was 4 and 5 to ask her about her day. And if you're an hour removed from her day, she doesn't remember anything. You sort of get the fine. Um, that communication is really important early on. And so in pre-K and in kindergarten, parents will often receive essentially a daily blog from the teacher, a lead teacher in their child's classroom. It's not going to be just about your child, but it will be about what the class did during the day, or if not daily, perhaps weekly. It always includes a series of questions that you can ask your child that are perhaps more thought-provoking than I ever thought of my own, and that are really lead-ins to getting them talking about what they did in class. We talk a lot in lower school with parents about, if you've thought about it more than once, thought has crossed your mind more than once, please ask us. So teachers are highly responsive over email, particularly this year. But really, if you were to send an email to your child's teacher and say, this is a concern, or I'm hearing this, they'll be back to you in less than 24 hours often, if not with an answer, with a plan to have a conversation, have a phone call. So it's really kind of that daily information you may be getting. And then as you get older, it becomes more weekly information. But teachers are very open to communication from parents. We want to know what you're hearing and seeing at home, as much as we want to share what we're hearing and seeing at school.
And then in terms of being involved in the classroom, certainly in a general year, not in a COVID year, but in a general year, we have a variety of parent opportunities to volunteer in the classroom, to volunteer for the lower school in general, or for the Blake community at large. And it could be as simple as coming in and helping out with lunch, or taking part in library activities. It could be mystery reader in 4th grade. It could be going on a field trip. So really the opportunities are vast with that lower school volunteers as parents. And Laura and I both really suggest that parents take the opportunity to be a part of your child's life in the lower school as much as possible. With mine now both in upper school, I can tell you that they don't really want you around as much in middle and upper school. So whenever you can take that opportunity in lower school, we certainly encourage you to do it. And Blake loves that you are involved. There's also a variety of educational opportunities for parents across the Blake community. Do you want to speak to those, Laura?
Sure. Yeah. So we offer educational series for our parents that are really helpful as parenting guides as we're all in this journey together, particularly if you're looking at lower school entry points, pre-K or K. We really consider it a privilege to be able to partner with your family in thinking about growing with your child from the age of 4 to the age of 18. So we offer educational series in our lower school that sometimes offer information about sort of technology use, 5th grade parents getting together and talking about that transition to middle school, other educational series that are offered around our commitment to pluralism. So as a school community, working together across divisions and across grades to have conversations about that commitment and what that means, providing opportunities, again, in non-COVID years to do work together as a community. So whether it's community service opportunities, this year we're turning our, what would be our full school all day service day that we do each year as a full school K through 12 on this campus into an all school food drive. But lots of other ways that the campuses and the divisions connect and really bring parents into those conversations in really meaningful ways. We have book groups. So Dr. Yu, who's the head of our lower school, and Mr. Dean, who's the head of our middle school, are running a book group for parents. So those are just a few of the ways that we really offer parent education, as well as just community service opportunities.
And very timely, there's a question about when kids move and matriculate to the middle school, do we mix up the Highcroft campus from Wayzata and the Blake campus from Hopkins and mix those classes together? And that certainly is true. As kids matriculate to 6th grade, we have around 80 or so of our 5th graders that move to the middle school. And then we add about 20 to 25 new kids to that incoming 6th grade class. So there really is a nice mix of kids who maybe have been at Blake for many, many years, all the way to kids that are just starting new in 6th grade. And all of those kids are mixed together in advisory groups of about 10. And then each student has their own schedule. So they're moving between classrooms throughout the day based on the schedule that's developed for them, as well as then meeting with their advisory every morning to check in and take part in a social emotional curriculum that happens in middle school advisory. There's a question about how and for how much time are screen activities incorporated into the children's school day in the lower school. Do you want to start with that, Laura?
Sure, absolutely. So of course, we really value what technology can bring into the classroom in terms of enhancing the ways in which we teach and learn. But at our core, we really are a hands-on teaching and learning lower school environment. So there are iPads available in sort of that sit on a cart outside the classrooms in grades K through 2, essentially. Sometimes they are brought in for work in something like engineering and programming. Sometimes they're brought in for work in something like Spanish, where kids are then listening to themselves or recording themselves. A lot of the work in grades, and again in pre-K, although pre-Kers almost are never with an iPad, but a lot of the work in K1 and 2 is about a sort of self-documentation, which is a great way for then it to be shared back with you as a parent, but also a good assessment tool for our teachers. In engineering and programming, which is a class, grades K through 5. Again, a lot of it is still hands-on Lego building, Kiva plank building, but we do work with Scratch. Maybe you heard a little bit about that in the video. And then starting in 3rd grade, we do teach keyboarding. So once you're in 3rd grade, you are learning sort of how to type out a project. But again, all the way through 5th grade, you're writing your personal narrative with a pen and a piece of paper. You're reviewing it with your peers, you're reviewing it with your teacher, you're making edits. And when you get to the phase where you're kind of ready to publish, then you're getting on a computer and typing. But at no time is there really an obligation for there to be a laptop needed for you as a learner in lower school to sort of do any work outside of the classroom. And really the bulk of it is around sort of publishing documents as you get into the older grades.
And one of the things as a parent that I've always really appreciated about Blake, especially through my kids' lower school years, is the partnership on technology and really the education that kids get about communicating through technology and using technology as a tool. So they really learn how to not just consume content, but create content and put it out, and how to have respectful conversation in writing through email or through text. And that technology is really, especially at those lower school ages, something that they share with their parents, and that their parents have access to what's happening in their Google account that they have through school just as much as they do, and their teachers do, and the technology specialist does. It set up a really good baseline for my family, so that you know, as they got older and they did get their own devices at home, it was really a very easy transition for us, for the kids to just assume that we would be checking their phones and, you know, keeping up with them about their texts and their social media accounts and those kinds of things. And it became a real opportunity for us to have ongoing discussion over dinner or whenever the need arose. So it felt like through their lower school years, it was really a huge partnership and a huge opportunity for kids to learn about how to be responsible citizens in terms of technology. Okay, so we are getting to the end of questions. It looks like there might just be 1 or 2 left. Any programming languages besides Scratch introduced in the lower school? And certainly they really do touch on a variety of programming languages, really just to expose kids to, again, that idea of there is something behind the screen. It's not just about, you know, consuming the Minecraft content or the video content or the YouTube, that there really is something behind that, that there is a way to build what happens and what they're looking at. And so they really are exposed to about 5 different languages over the course of their years in lower school, but the primary programming language that they work with is the Scratch programming language. All right, so I believe that we are at the end of our questions, Laura.
Well, that was a lot of great questions. Thank you so much for everybody sharing their thoughts with us. So this last slide is just about some next steps. If you already have an admissions portal created, that is a wonderful one-stop way for you to continue to do things like sign up for more of our virtual events, sign up for an on-campus tour, or start an application. If you don't have it in Blake admissions portal, we'll email you a link. And again, we simply ask for your email address, and then you're able to set up kind of this one-stop shop for your family. As Lynn mentioned, we are open for on-campus tours for parents and guardians only. If you are seeking to apply for next year only. So if you're looking a year or two out, we hope to welcome you back to campus when things are a little bit more, I guess, normal. But if you're looking for next year, we're very happy to take you through our school, but they are for parents and guardians only. If you haven't already begun an application, again, you can find that through the portal. I think Lynn talked through the admissions process, so I won't spend too much time on that. And then lastly, just, again, we welcome you to attend as many virtual events as you can fit. They are totally optional as well, though. So if they don't fit in your calendar, no worries. We already talked about the Discover Blake events. We'll also be hosting a very similar format for lower school on November 5th, that's really just going to be about literacy, and our PK through 12 chair of language will be joining us. His name is Rick Kaywood, and he worked very closely with developing our early literacy programs for pre-K and K and 1. So that's something else that is sort of a special session that's happening. And of course, at any time, if you have questions, if you want to schedule a phone call or a one-on-one Zoom meeting, Lynn and I are always happy to answer a call, set up a meeting, and spend time talking with you. We really value and thank you for your interest in Blake. We know this is an unusual year, but we can both, I think, attest as parents that there is a lot of joy here at Blake this year. There's a wonderful way of knowing that just how valued our students feel. They're so excited to come to school every day, and our teachers couldn't be happier about how well, of course, as kids are far more resilient than we are, how well our kids have adapted. And I'm sure that's the case with your own student too. So with that, I will sign off. Lynn, if you want to sign off. And
yes, thank you all so much for spending your time with us today.
yeah, we hope to hear from you again soon.
Bye-bye.